Please. He begged. His voice cracking. I'll lose everything. The shock on his face was priceless when he realized who the new owner was. He thought it'd be broken forever after I found his messages and he threatened me. I just stayed silent, letting him squirm a little longer. It all started so stupidly. So cliché. He 35M fell asleep on the couch watching some dumb action movie. And I 33F was about to wake him up to come to bed. That's when his phone, lying face up on the cushion next to him, lit up. It was a notification from an app with a weird, geometric logo ID never seen before. It wasn't Tinder or Bumble. My stomach did a little flip. A voice in my head, the one that's usually pretty good at telling me to mind my own business, was screaming at me to just put a blanket on him and go to bed. To ignore it. But another, colder voice just whispered, "You already know." I picked up the phone. It was unlocked. My thumbs felt like they were moving on their own, swiping and tapping on that unfamiliar icon. The app opened. And for a second, my brain couldn't process what I was seeing. It was a dating app. But all the profiles were men. It took me a solid 10 seconds to understand that I was looking at a gay dating app on my husband's phone. The core of my body went cold. I tapped on the messages. The most recent one was from a guy just a few towns over. But it was the history that broke me. Scrolling back, I saw it started in January. Maybe February. Message after message. Not just with one guy, but with several. And the content explicit doesn't even begin to cover it. They were detailed. Graphic conversations about what they would do to each other when they met up. Every sentence was a punch to the gut. That initial shock morphed into a frantic, sickening need to know everything. If this was here, where else was it? I closed the app, my heart hammering against my ribs, and went straight to his Instagram DMs. Then Snapchat. It was all there. More conversations. This time, with both men and women. They were less graphic, more logistical. Are you free Thursday? My place or yours? Can't wait to finally meet. I had to sit down on the edge of the coffee table, the phone feeling heavy and hot in my hand. My own breathing sounded loud in the quiet room. I scrolled, and with every new name and every new plan, it felt like a little piece of our life was just turning to ash. I can't prove he actually met any of them. But looking at the sheer volume of these planned meetups, the depth of the conversations, that distinction doesn't even matter to me. The intent is so clear. This wasn't a one-time mistake or a fleeting curiosity. I realized in that moment, sitting in the dark with the blue light of the screen on my face, that this was a system, a whole separate life running in parallel to the one he was living with me. I haven't confronted him yet. I just put the phone back, went to our bedroom, and shut the door. I'm lying here now, listening to the TV still murmuring in the living room. How do you even start a conversation that you know will end your entire world? What do you say to the person sleeping on the couch, who you suddenly don't know at all? For the next day, I was on autopilot. I went to work. I answered emails. I made small talk. But behind my eyes, I was just replaying the messages. The names. The planned meetups. Through it all, one memory kept surfacing, playing on a loop. It was from when we had just started getting serious. Probably a decade ago. We were sitting in his crappy first apartment. And we were talking about our fears. I remember him taking my hand and saying, clear as day, if either of us ever gets to the point where we feel the need to cheat, we have to promise to just end it. It would mean what we have isn't enough anymore. And we owe each other that honesty. I agreed. It felt so simple. So honorable. It was the foundation we built everything on. That memory was the only thing that cut through the fog of pain. It wasn't about the other men or women anymore. It was about the promise. He didn't just break my trust. He broke our foundational rule. I confronted him that night. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I waited until he was in the kitchen, making a snack like it was just another Tuesday. I stood in the doorway and said, I know. I saw the apps and the messages on your phone. He froze, his hand hovering over the bread. He turned around slowly, and I watched his face cycle through a series of emotions. Shock, then fear, then a hardening ID never seen before. He didn't say, I'm sorry. He said, you went through my phone? And just like that, I was the one on trial. He started talking about a lack of intimacy. How I've been distant. How I'm always tired. He was listing my supposed failures as his justification. I just stood there, listening to him build this narrative where his betrayal was somehow a logical consequence of my actions. My voice was flat, devoid of any emotion I was actually feeling. It doesn't matter, I said. We made a promise. We said we'd end it. I took a breath. I'm ending it. I want a divorce. It was like a switch flipped. The anger vanished, replaced by a sudden, terrifying panic in his eyes. He came towards me, his hands out. No. You can't. His voice cracked. You can't just leave. I have nothing without you. And then he delivered the line that has completely paralyzed me. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "If you file those papers, I will kill myself. I'm not even kidding. I'll do it. And it will be on you." He just handed me his life. Like it was a grenade with the pin pulled. I wanted a clean break based on a promise we both made. And instead, I'm being held hostage. The issue is no longer his infidelity. The issue is that he's made it clear he will burn the whole world down. Starting with himself. If I try to walk away, what am I supposed to do with that? How do you save yourself when you're being told it will cost someone else their life? We are now living in the same house. And the silence is deafening. We move around each other like ghosts in our own home, occupying the same space but existing in different worlds. The air is thick with everything unsaid. Every time he walks into a room, my entire body tenses up. I find myself holding my breath, waiting for the next accusation or the next desperate plea. His words from that night, they've started to take root. In the dead of night, when I can't sleep, my mind betrays me. It turns into a detective at a crime scene where I'm both the victim and the suspect. Dusting for my own fingerprints on the weapon. Was I distant? Did I stop making an effort? I replay the last year of our marriage. But instead of seeing it through my own eyes, I'm seeing it through the lens of his accusations. Every time I was tired after a long day at work, every night I just wanted to watch TV instead of talk, it all feels like evidence against me now. The feeling that I wasn't enough, that this must be my fault, is growing. It's a quiet, insidious weed twisting its way around my heart. The logical part of my brain knows it's absurd. A good partner communicates. They don't download dating apps and live a secret life. But the emotional part, the part that he is expertly manipulating, just feels this profound sense of failure. And what's messing with my head the most is the total contradiction of it all. If I was such a terrible wife, and if what he really wanted was to be with other people, men or women, it doesn't even matter, then why isn't he relieved? Why wouldn't he just leave? He's the one who was looking for an escape hatch. Yet I'm the one who opened the door and he's refusing to walk through it. Instead, he's chaining himself to me with guilt and threats. It makes no sense. He's fighting to the death to save a marriage he had already betrayed and abandoned. So I'm stuck. I'm living with a man whose secrets I've uncovered, who has blamed me for his own actions, and who has threatened to end his life if I save my own. I feel responsible for everything now, his happiness, his pain, his very existence. I genuinely feel now that it must be my fault, because I clearly could never be enough for him. But I can't understand why he won't just go. I don't even know if there's a real question in that. But I'm hoping that venting to strangers might help me see something I can't see right now. Am I losing my mind here?